So, well, the backlash is coming and it's getting bigger and bigger in regards to Harry and Meghan, especially Meghan and her father. So we're going to be talking about this because they've also put out a recent statement in regards to the Australian Prime Minister, thanking him and congratulating him for his recent banning of social media for under 16-year-olds. So I'm going to be talking about their motives and what is really going on here as well. So if you want to join me in this, where we get to the truth, ignoring the clickbait and the gossip, then this could be the channel for you. As we get into the festive spirit, you can see the sparkles. Come join me, go grab your drink of choice, whatever that is. Sit back, relax as we get into some tea with some therapeutic psychology. Hey everyone, as you can see, I am sparkly, getting in the festive spirit. I was trying to do this because I've actually had to get some clip-in ones because I haven't been able to get to Glastonbury this year where I normally get them done. And I've got to sort them out because I think the clip-in is just too many. And so I'm starting to look like I could be seen from space. But anyway, for this video, you're just going to have to deal with it. And I'm sorry if it's distracting. So yes, the backlash. Oh, it's, yeah, it's getting louder and louder. People are just not having it. And of course, what I'm talking about is, because I'll get to the Australian thing in a minute, but this is to do with her father, and that she apparently has accused the mainstream media of leaking stories affecting her privacy, which has made it impossible for her to connect with her father. And again, the mainstream media just seem to accept what she says without actually doing any digging, because it's like, right, so but firstly, how did the mainstream media know about the note in the first place? It's like, she's definitely either got someone leaking things from her end or she's doing it herself. So look, I understand that some people have very strong thoughts about the Markle family. I understand that some people don't agree with how Thomas Markle deals with things, especially as he was the one that sort of set this ball rolling in going to putting out this sort of heartfelt statement in trying to reach out to his daughter. And a lot of people have critiqued that because they've said, you know, this should be private. You know, we're getting fed up and tired of sort of this drama. And I get it. I really do. Because, yes, as we know, in all fairness, all family things should be private, in my opinion. Everything that has gone on that we have seen in regards to the Markle family, the royal family, unless it is actually to do with the monarchy, the family stuff should be private. And we know it hasn't been. So I understand that because I am sick and tired of the drama as well. But here's the thing. You've got a man who has been completely dumped by a daughter that he has raised, that he has loved and done everything for, still says he loves her. And she has literally shut every avenue of communication. The only one that is left to him is the mainstream media. And I also blame the mainstream media because I do feel that they use him. I do feel that he's quite vulnerable, and I do feel that they use him. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure he does get something out of it as well. But, you know, if we're looking at this from a humane, compassionate level, as much as I understand that when we're on the outside looking in, it can seem frustrating and like, you know, like I say, this is all drama, but this is a man who has lost his daughter, and in such a way that is just unthinkable. It's just unthinkable because he's gone from having her in his life, being daddy, you know, being all of those things, and to her, you know, to the point where she even rings him up and says, Daddy, you know, I've met a prince, etc. And then suddenly done, gone. So if anyone out there who's a parent You know, if you've ever gone through something even remotely similar, but when you have somebody that has had every avenue shut, there's almost like a desperation with that, and like a desperation within that. And like I say, anyone out there who's a parent who has gone through where their child has, I don't know, disowned them or got mad at them and not spoken to them for months or years, it can be devastating. But for most of us, there's still an avenue somewhere, usually. There's still some place where we can find them or get hold of them, write to them, whatever it is. She has just shut all communication, every avenue. And not only that, you know, he sees 2 alleged grandchildren that he has absolutely nothing to do with. Now, of course, we know the truth about the children, but regardless, this is how he sees it. So what is left is the mainstream media. That's the only avenue he's got. And so, of course, he's gone through this very scary health scare. And so he's probably, you know, he's in his 80s. And so he's getting to that stage now where he's probably terrified of dying and not being able to speak to his daughter. And so he utilizes the only avenue he's got, which is the mainstream media. And of course, the mainstream media are very happy to allow that to happen. But it saddens me because, like I say, as much as I understand that this, yes, in a normal circumstance, this should be private, but I do strongly feel, regardless, that this man was literally fed to the wolves. There was no protection. He went from being nothing publicly to suddenly everywhere, hounded, harassed, and he had no protection from the one person who he probably thought would protect him. And let's be honest, as we get older, we want to hope and pray that our children are going to be there for us, maybe at a time of need. I know that I look after my mum and dad. I wouldn't dream of doing anything that would cause them harm or have something where they feel vulnerable and alone. So from that perspective, I just find it so egregious that the mainstream media seem to constantly paint this guy as the villain. No, he's not perfect. None of us are. But he certainly doesn't deserve what has been handed to him by his own daughter. And I'm so tired of the fact that people constantly sort of go on about the fact that, well, he tried to ruin the wedding. It's like he tried to do, he sold stories to the press. He did nothing for 2 years. When they met in 2016 to the wedding of 2018, he did nothing. He didn't do interviews. He didn't do anything, even though he was hounded by the press. They were constantly putting pictures up of him, hence why he ended up doing what he did. And like I've said before, I believe she set that up because she knew the journalist, Jeff Rayner. She'd worked with him before. So I think she completely set this up as a way to get him not to come to the wedding. Anyway, so I've gone through that. But so here we have now that she's basically saying that the reason she now can't sort of connect to her father is due to the fact that she's concerned that he's going to have a journalist there, or that things are being leaked all over the place. And you have to sit there and kind of go, are you actually kidding me? This woman who has spent years leaking things to the press, who has spent years literally exposing, she exposed the inside of William and Catherine's place. She exposed texts where Harry talks about a one night behind a pub, forcing the woman to come out because she was being hounded. These two have done nothing but expose the privacy of others. Yet when it comes to them, oh no, we can't expose anything, can't talk about anything. It's like, let's remember the letter that she wrote to her father, knowing it was going to get potentially leaked. And so she purposely wrote it in a way to tug at the heartstrings, making her the victim. Forcing her father to then kind of go out and go, well, actually, no, this is what actually really happened. And then this whole thing of dragging him through the courts. Let's not forget the fact that she's, basically said that she grew up as an only child and said some horrendous things about Samantha. And, so to the point where Samantha sued her. And she has got you know, no qualms about lying and exposing anyone to get what she wants. But the minute somebody does it to her, she's a victim. And I just find it unbelievable that the mainstream media just go along with it and be like, oh, poor Meghan and Harry. Are you actually for real in doing your job? It's like, how are you writing that with a straight face? It's just absolutely unbelievable. This, you know, I do feel sorry for the family. I feel sorry for Thomas, because like I said, as a parent, I can't even imagine what it would feel. Well, no, I can sort of imagine what it would feel like if one of my kids just was like, I don't want anything to do with you, especially if you've done nothing wrong. You know, in his eyes, the way he's probably viewing this is like, I've made one mistake, and it wasn't even like a huge mistake, because it was only after that he started to then talk to the media. And it's like, you know, I get that there's obviously other things going on, and I know that some people don't particularly like the family, but it's like, how can you not have a heart? But unfortunately, as we know with Meghan, she hasn't. She's a narcissist, and the only reason, in my opinion, the only reason that she's done this is because of the backlash that she's seen, and also because she knows that she needs to now set this up. So something is going to happen. So when he does go, she is potentially going to come out with the most horrendous story that we all know what she's potentially going to do. So now she can basically say, well, I tried my best to find him, but you know, he's just made it so impossible for me to trust him. And the mainstream media are literally just lapping it up and going along with it. And I just sometimes think, you know, I'm tired of picking my jaw off the floor at how I'm starting to feel like I'm going to need to be like Jacob Marley off Scrooge, where I'm going to need to tie my jaw up at this point, because I'm literally reading these articles going, what? In the words of Oprah, what? Yeah, so I'm going to literally need at some point to tie my jaw up, because it's forever going, oh, my jaw clicked then. Maybe I do need to wire it up. But yeah, it's just, it's absolutely just bonkers to me how these two just get away with it. And I've said before, and I know we all say it, but until these titles are removed, these two are going to continue doing the things that they're doing. It needs to happen soon, because I am so fed up with her, more her than him, and actually more so even the mainstream media. I feel like I constantly talk about this, but it just angers me so much. So before I get into the next one, just a quick reminder to please like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget you can treat me to a cup of coffee if you so choose, and there's lots of ways to support this channel. They'll all be running across the bottom here. If you want the link to the cup of coffee, because I do get people that email me saying they can't find it, there's a yellow icon which looks like a coffee cup above the subscribe button, I think, on my YouTube page. Or if you go into the description box of each video where you click on more, and there's like 3 dots, I think, then that brings everything up. And if you just click on those links, it takes you to everything that you need, whether it's the coffee, the PO box, Amazon wish list, etc. It's all there for you. The other thing I also want to mention as well is I'm going to be bringing a moderator on to the channel. And I would like if you could possibly go across and give her channel some love, and I'm going to put it up here. So if you see this lady here answering in the comments, it's because she is now a moderator, because I just cannot keep up with, as much as I want to keep up with you, it's just impossible. But plus mainly because I want to make sure that there is no bullying or trolling that goes on, and sometimes I do miss things, because with working full-time doing this, it just becomes difficult to manage. So yeah, so this lady is coming on to give me a hand, so please give her some love and acceptance in the channel, and welcoming her to the Bubble family. So right, yes, Australia. So Harry and Meghan have put out this statement on their Merchywell. Now, I didn't go onto their site because I refused to give them my details, but I did see it go up on the mainstream media. So here it is, and here is what they put out. And again, it was another open my jaw moment, because I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? The hypocrisy of these two. Let's firstly get to the fact that this is grooming. They are grooming the Australian Prime Minister. I'm calling it here. They are trying to groom the Australian Prime Minister because they want to go over there. Now, we know that the Australian Prime Minister has basically said they're free to come over as private citizens, but they're not going to get the royal treatment. They're not going to get the red carpet rolled out for them. So, of course, this is going to have annoyed Harry and Meghan. So what my guess is that they are now trying to suck up to the Australian Prime Minister by putting this out. Because let's face it, what have they actually said about Australia before now? Have they ever said anything? No, they haven't. But suddenly we've had this recent thing where they've talked about coming over to Australia. And of course, the Prime Minister had just gone, yeah, no, not really going to be celebrating that. So I think this is now what the aim of Harry and Meghan is going to be. They want to, I believe, they are now trying to build, I truly do believe they are trying to build a side royal family for themselves. So I think that what they're doing is they're undermining the British royal family at every opportunity, because they know their titles are going when William becomes king. They are now going to try to compete. Now, of course, we know it's not going to go anywhere, but we've got to remember that Meghan has an ego the size of Mount Vesuvius. So is that the name of it? So she is going to absolutely attempt to eclipse. So of course, this is what I believe she's doing with this statement put out. Now, okay, look, do I agree with what the Australian Prime Minister has done in regards to banning 16-year-olds from going on social media? In theory, yes, but the problem you have is that this should have been done from the beginning. When social media was created, it should have been that it was only applicable to 16 years and over, because the problem you've got now is, like a lot of things, is that social media can become an addiction. So now you're going to have young people who have been used to going on social media a lot of the time, also now struggling to know what to do. So it's okay to come up with these things and have these ideas, which, like I say, in theory, I fully get, in trying to protect children. But when you've got Harry and Meghan, which I'm going to get to in a minute, sort of putting out these statements, but it's like, but you're not thinking of everything that happens around this. You've got these young people that have gone on social media that have possibly, that some use it as a lifeline, especially if they're lonely or they've got nothing else to do, and they've used it as a lifeline, or they use it as social interaction. And I get that it's not healthy, but the fact of the matter is this is factually true. So then what you've done is you've literally just cut them off. So it's like with any sort of form of addiction, which social media is, you've literally made them go cold turkey. And so what then that will do is then potentially breed problems within itself. You're going to have possible behaviours that are going to come out because, kids have become dependent on this. So you're not putting therapy in place. You're not putting other things. It's all well and good, but where are the youth centres for kids to go to? To me, it's like, put these things in place first before you're going to do this. Or gradually start to wean kids off, maybe shut down certain sites or create a more child-friendly version so they can still socially interact with their friends, perhaps, and, and share cute kitten videos or whatever it is. But, do it in such a way that it's not so like sudden, instant, which is what they've done. And so I think that you're now going to have, not only that, like I say, just behaviours where you're going to have kids lying, you're going to have kids trying to get onto social media, possibly using, if there becomes a paywall behind something, or fake ID or stuff like that. It's almost going to become the new, like when kids used to get fake ID to go into pubs and bars and things like that. It's almost going to be that now. So it's going to create a lot more problems I think initially, until this gets ironed out and all the kinks get sorted. But so I get it in theory. So, but the fact, like I say, you've got Harry and Meghan who have literally just gone, yeah, you know, we're fully in agreement with this and we're really supportive and this is great. And then you're sitting there going, hang on a minute. Aren't you the ones that said we're coming off, so, you know, we've come off social media because Meghan was apparently the most trolled person on the planet, but then suddenly has now come back on social media and is now using 2 children to garner attention, albeit that we're being told they're their children, but still regardless, using 2 children to garner attention on her social media. They have created so much mystery and intrigue and weirdness around these children, potentially putting said children in possible danger because people are becoming more curious as to who they are and what is going on. Not only that, when they go on these faux weird tours that they do, one of the first things they do is they go to children's schools, and they're quite happy again to use these children and put these children, other people's children, on social media. They don't blur out their faces, they don't protect them, they're on social media for the world to see. So it's okay for them to hide these alleged children they say are theirs, but it's also okay for them to use the back of their heads and to use their face covered up or whatever it is. But when it comes to other people's children, when they've gone to nurseries and schools, etc., oh, no, we don't need to cover up those children, though. That's fine. But the biggest thing, as you know, I've talked about this before, is that they are still invested in a company called Ethic. And this company is anything but ethical. And this company has shares and gets billions of dollars in profits from companies such as Facebook, Google, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, has, you know, and you're talking about eco-friendly Harry and Meghan, and this company has shares in oil fracking, big major oil companies and diesel companies and car companies that, you know, the gas guzzlers. So you have the absolute hypocrites, Harry and Meghan, who put out these statements and say, oh, we're all for this, and oh, well done, the Australian Prime Minister, for putting this out there, but not actually looking at how much damage can be caused by taking this away from children so suddenly without putting things in place. But the fact that these two do everything opposite to the thing that they keep saying they're doing, by supporting a company that has invested shares and gets profits from these huge companies that they rally against. They openly talked about the fact that when we had the C19 jab, that they said that the patent formula should be released to everybody. But guess who's got shares in some of the big corporations, the big companies, pharmaceutical companies? Yep, Ethic. So you're like, hang on a second, how is it that you two are getting money? And let's face it, this is not their money they're investing. It's probably the money that they're getting donated to Merchywell. So other people's money that they are supposed to be using for charity, but they're investing that money in the very companies that they're now saying that they're against. You can't have both. You can't profit from these companies and then say you're so against them. It's and again, the mainstream media say nothing. I mean, to be fair to the Daily Mail, they did print about this, but it didn't circulate. It didn't go anywhere. It wasn't like mainstream news everywhere. People weren't reporting on it. Why? Why are people, you know, when we've got like people that do speak out against them, we've got Piers Morgan, we've got Megyn Kelly, we've got Candace Owens, whether you like her or don't like her, but she has obviously gone up against, you know, Meghan and Harry. You know, there are people that have gone up. Why have they never reported on the fact that these two have shares and have put money into a company that profits from all of these big tech companies that Harry and Meghan say that they're so against? Facebook has been accused of being egregious towards children in not caring about the things that they circulate that children can see. The same with Google, the same with a lot of these companies. They have been accused of nefarious things in regards to children. And yet nothing gets said, nothing gets done. And so that to me tells me that they're literally, they're all in bed together. All of these people, that all they care about is money. And I sometimes feel like I'm banging my head against a brick wall. I am banging my head against trying to get the truth out there as much as possible. And when you put these videos out, a lot of the time, because of the algorithm, they don't get circulated. They don't want people to know. They don't want this to be spread out there. Like I said before, when I put the thing out about Diana, you know, when she did that video and she knew exactly what she was doing, that got hardly any views. And yet my videos normally, especially on TikTok, get a lot of views when it comes to Harry and Meghan, until I speak about something that seems to be specific. When I talk about the Diana stuff, when I talk about this company, it doesn't circulate. So they are controlling the algorithm. They are controlling, so this company, this ethical company, seems to be controlling some aspects of what is going on. And when you've got people like that have got billions of dollars in this, it shows you that these two are only interested in control. They are only interested in having the positive stuff put out about them. And unfortunately, the mainstream media are buying into it. Journalism, I've said before, is dead. It's completely dead. And all you have now are people like me. You know, you and I, who have our critical thinking heads on, you know, and we know the stuff that we know. And I talk about it on here. And that's possibly why my channel stalls, because I think that I sometimes get too close to the truth. And they don't want it circulated. You know, that's why you'll find that some channels who just do tongue-in-cheek stuff or don't really delve into things on a serious level. I know the Royal Grift has had issues with her channel, because she gets close to the truth. She does the digging, and I don't do anything near to what she does. And so I get it. You know, they don't want people like us circulating. You know, they want us shut down. And, you know, and it just beggars belief. And it's scary. It's scary, the fact that more and more people are in a sense getting shut down by these two. And I honestly do feel that there is something very nefarious going on. And there are some people that are investing in these two, and these people are against the British royal family. And I think that they're sort of utilizing Harry and Meghan to almost like create this side-by-side, not royal family as such, but almost like, I don't know. I don't really know exactly what the term will be, but it's like she's trying to build something to undermine the British royal family. And that's why I think that she's now trying to charm the Australian Prime Minister. And so she wants her and Harry to get this free ride, this free holiday over to Australia, probably before William and Catherine get to go. And what I think they're potentially then going to do is start planting some seeds, which is what I think they tried to do in Colombia. And I think they tried to do that in Nigeria. But like I say, interestingly, whatever it was, her 43% Nigerian, the lie that she created to get into Nigeria and get this faux royal tour. But look at what she's done with all the atrocities that have happened in Nigeria. Has she spoken out once? Nothing. Not a statement. No, nothing. She's not said anything about it. You know, and again, the mainstream media have not even called her out for that. But yet they can put a statement out about what the Australian Prime Minister has done. And why? Because it benefits them. Because they want to go to Australia. Now, I know that a lot of you are from Australia, and I know that you're going to be up in arms about this, but I tell you now, that's what they're trying to do. Whether it will work is a different matter, and it probably won't, but that is what they're attempting to do. They are trying to undermine William and Catherine because they know the titles are going, and they know that they are obviously coming in probably soonish to being king and queen. So they're literally in overdrive and trying to overshadow them, in my opinion. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I apologize if there's things I've missed out. Like I say, I've not been very well, and like I say, trying to catch up with things before I wind down for Christmas. Here is the latest Christmas picture. As you know, I've been asking you guys to send them in, and every time I do a video, I'm going to be showcasing one of the Christmas pictures, you know, just to kind of keep in the festive spirits. And yeah, that's kind of it from me this week. So I hope that you've enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like it, please. Hype if you can. If there's the option to hype, please do, because it does help the algorithm. I know some of you are not quite sure how it works, but it does apparently help channels like mine get noticed. So it does really do something. And I have noticed my subscribers going up a little bit more again. So hopefully it's kickstarting the channel again. Enjoy your weekend, whatever you are doing, and I will see you next week to see what other shenanigans these two have got up to. Don't forget to also head across to BITESIZE Tea. I really would like you guys to please support me a little bit more. I've got so many of you on here, but a lot of you have not gone across to support BITESIZE Tea. Please go across and do that, because it will help, especially if this channel goes down. Then I need to make sure that I can keep the free therapy program going by running it from that one over there. So please go across. The link is at the end of this channel. You'll see a little circle where you'll see a caricature of me and Arthur. Click on that and it will take you straight there. So please, even if you don't want to watch the videos, just go across and support the channel. And that's it. I will see you next week. And as always, you know, I love you, I appreciate you, but most of all, I respect you. Take care. Bye-bye. Mwah.